Tandy never planned to become famous. She was just a 20-year-old girl in Lagos with a cracked phone, a ring light she made out of foil and tape, and a big love for creating things. From her small bedroom, she started posting YouTube videos about everyday life, styling thrift clothes, turning old jeans into skirts, and sharing funny stories from school. Her laugh was contagious, her energy real. People loved her for it. At first, she had only 100 subscribers, mostly friends and classmates. But one day, a video where she transformed her mom's old Ankara fabric into a trendy top blew up. Overnight, thousands of people started following her. Within 2 years, she had over 350,000 loyal fans. Brands started reaching out, and people on the street recognized her. Tandy felt unstoppable, like she had finally found her voice. Her parents didn't see it that way. To them, YouTube was a distraction, not a career. You should focus on real work, her father would say. Her mother called it a waste of time. They didn't understand that what she was building was bigger than just videos. The tension grew when her older sister, Lerato, who had always been the family's pride, the perfect student, the one with the serious future, started to feel overshadowed. Every new milestone Tandy reached seemed to make home a little colder. What should have been her biggest joy slowly started to feel like a secret she had to protect. The more Tandy's channel grew, the more Lerato changed. At first, it was small things, little jokes about how Tandy was wasting time talking to a camera, or rolling her eyes whenever Tandy mentioned her subscribers. But soon, the teasing turned sharp. Lerato started calling her videos childish, and her followers strangers with nothing better to do. Every success Tandy celebrated seemed to annoy her even more. Tandy tried to stay calm. She kept telling herself, "She's my sister. She just doesn't understand." But no matter how kind she tried to be, the words still hurt. She would edit late into the night, wearing her headphones to block out the tension in the house. Still, she could feel the cold looks, the whispers between her parents and Lerato. When Tandy hit 350,000 subscribers, it felt like a dream. She set up her camera to go live, smiling through happy tears as her fans flooded the chat with heart emojis and congratulations. "We did it, guys," she said, her voice full of joy. But that happiness didn't last long. Halfway through her live stream, Lerato burst into Tandy's room, face tight with anger. "You think you're better than me because strangers watch your silly videos?" she shouted. The chat went silent. Tandy froze, completely embarrassed. She quickly ended the stream, her heart pounding. Their parents came running in. Instead of calming Lerato down, they turned to Tandy. "You're causing division in this family," her father said. "Maybe it's time you stop this YouTube thing for a while." Tandy just stood there, speechless. The people she loved most couldn't see how much this meant to her. She wasn't chasing fame, she was chasing freedom. But in that moment, it felt like her dream was tearing her family apart. Later that night, she sat alone in her room, staring at her dark screen. The room that once felt full of light now felt heavy and cold. She replayed Lerato's words over and over in her head. Silly videos, strangers, division. Tandy wanted to fight back, to scream that her work mattered, that she was building something real. But she didn't. Instead, she wiped her tears, turned on her camera again, and whispered to herself, "They don't have to believe in me. I believe in me." Still deep down, a small crack had formed. The joy that once fueled her now carried a shadow of doubt. And though she didn't know it yet, that moment would be the start of something much darker, something that would test just how strong her dream really was. Tandy woke up to what felt like a nightmare. The morning light slipped through her curtains as usual, but something felt off. She reached for her phone like she did every day, ready to check her YouTube stats. New comments, new subscribers, maybe a brand email or two. But when she opened the app, her channel was gone. At first, she thought it was a glitch. She refreshed the page again and again. Nothing. She tried logging in, typing her password carefully, but the same message kept flashing on the screen. "This account has been deleted." Her hands started shaking. She jumped out of bed, opened her laptop, and tried again. Still gone. All her videos, hundreds of them. Every comment, every like, every memory, wiped out. It was like she had never existed online. Her heart pounded as panic took over. "No, no, no," she whispered, clicking through her folders in disbelief. She had spent 2 years building that channel, editing till sunrise, pouring her heart into every video. And now, with one click, it was all erased. Tears blurred her vision as she ran to the living room. "Mom, Dad, my channel is gone," she cried. Her parents looked up from the breakfast table, calm, too calm. Her mother sighed and said, "We did it." Tandy froze. "What do you mean you did it?" "It was becoming unhealthy for your sister," her mother said, her tone almost casual, like she was talking about turning off the TV. Behind her, Lerato leaned against the wall, arms crossed, a tiny smirk playing on her lips. "You deleted my channel?" Tandy's voice cracked. "Everything I worked for? All of it?" "You need to focus on real life, Tandy," her father said, not even looking up from his plate. This online thing was getting out of hand. You're causing tension in the house. Tandy's knees went weak. She stumbled back, clutching her phone like it could somehow bring everything back. Do you have any idea what you've done? She whispered. Her mother stood up and reached for her hand. We did what was best for this family, she said gently, but Tandy pulled away. Lorado's smirk widened for a second before she turned and walked off. That single look broke something inside Tandy, a mix of anger, heartbreak, and betrayal so deep it left her breathless. She ran back to her room, slammed the door, and collapsed to the floor. The silence felt louder than ever. Her dream, the one thing that gave her purpose, was gone. Deleted not by strangers or hackers, but by the people who were supposed to protect her. Tandy buried her face in her hands and sobbed until her body ached. For the first time, she didn't know who she could trust. Her whole world had vanished with one click, and nothing would ever be the same again. The days after her channel disappeared felt like walking through fog. Everything around Tandy moved, but she couldn't feel any of it. She stopped eating, stopped filming, stopped smiling. Her phone buzzed nonstop, friends asking, "Hey, what happened to your channel? Are you okay? Did you quit YouTube?" She didn't know how to answer. How could she tell them the truth, that her own family had erased her dream? Her parents carried on like nothing had happened. Her mom hummed while cooking breakfast, her dad scrolled through the news, and Lorado avoided her completely. When Tandy tried to talk about it, her mother just said, "It's for the best, dear. You were getting obsessed." Her father added, "Now you can focus on real goals." Real goals. The words made her stomach twist. At night, she lay awake staring at the ceiling, her mind looping through every memory. The first video that went viral, the long editing nights, the fans who said she inspired them. It was all gone like it never existed. The silence in her room felt heavier than ever. Her posters looked dull, her camera gathered dust in the corner. But underneath the sadness, something else was growing, quiet and hot. Anger. She didn't shout or cry anymore. She just carried that fire inside her, letting it build. Her family thought they'd silenced her, but they had no idea what they'd started. One night, unable to sleep, Tandy sat up and opened her laptop. Her hands moved slowly, almost shaking. She clicked on her external drive, the one she'd used to store old footage, thumbnails, and drafts. She hadn't touched it in months. As the folders loaded, her breath caught. Every single video she'd ever made was there. Every laugh, every edit, every piece of her journey safe. For the first time in weeks, she smiled. A small, tired smile, but real. The sadness began to fade, replaced by something stronger, purpose. She clicked through her videos, watching clips of her younger self dancing, laughing, teaching, creating. That girl hadn't disappeared. She was still here. Tandy leaned back in her chair, her eyes glinting in the dim light. Her parents thought they'd ended her story, but they'd only pushed her to write a new one. This time, no one would see her coming. She whispered to herself, "You deleted my channel, not my voice." And as she stared at the glowing screen filled with her saved work, a new idea started forming. Something bold, something secret. The spark inside her reignited, brighter than ever. That night, Tandy didn't sleep. She didn't cry either. She sat there, planning, imagining, and smiling. Because in the quiet of her room, she finally realized her story wasn't over. It was just beginning again. Tandy made a promise to herself. She would never let anyone silence her again. But this time, she wasn't going to announce anything, argue with anyone, or ask for permission. She was done trying to make her family understand. Quietly, late one night, she sat at her desk with her laptop and created a brand new YouTube account. No name, no face, no past. She typed in the channel name slowly. The real me. It felt right, honest, raw, and powerful. At first, she didn't even plan to post. But something inside her needed to speak. So, she recorded a simple video using her old camera. No fancy editing, no bright lights. Just her voice and her words. She talked about starting over after betrayal, about losing everything and finding yourself again. She never mentioned names, never said who she was. She just spoke the truth, the kind that cuts deep because it's real. When she uploaded the video, she didn't expect much. But the next morning, it already had thousands of views. The comments were full of people saying things like, "This feels so real," and "It's like you're telling my story." For the first time in a long while, Tandy felt seen, not for the image she built, but for the soul behind it. Encouraged, she kept posting short, heartfelt videos about healing, confidence, and rediscovering purpose. She didn't hide her pain, and that honesty hit home for so many people. Viewers from all over the world started sharing her videos, calling her the voice of truth. No one knew her name, but everyone felt connected to her. Weeks turned into months, and the channel exploded. The Real Me crossed 100,000 subscribers, then 300,000, and by the third month, 500,000 people were tuning in to listen to the girl who spoke like she'd lived 1,000 lives. Tandy watched the numbers grow quietly, a small smile playing on her lips. No brand deals, no fake perfection, just her story, told in pieces, hidden behind a new identity. Her family had no idea. At home, she stayed quiet, polite, distant. Lorato bragged about her new job interviews, her parents still talked about real goals, and Tandy just nodded, pretending to move on. But every night, after everyone slept, she came alive in front of her camera again. There was a new kind of peace in this version of her, calm, steady, and confident. The pain that once broke her now gave her strength. She didn't need validation anymore. She had her purpose back, stronger than before. And though no one knew it was her, the world had fallen in love with Tandy all over again, not for her style or trends, but for her truth. This time, she wasn't chasing fame. She was building freedom. Quiet, powerful, untraceable. It happened on a quiet Sunday afternoon. Lorato was lying on the couch, scrolling through YouTube like she always did. She wasn't looking for anything special, just music, maybe a few lifestyle videos. Then she saw a thumbnail that made her stop. A woman sitting in front of a simple background, speaking to the camera with calm confidence. Something about her looked familiar. The way she tilted her head when she smiled, the warmth in her voice. Lorato's stomach dropped. She turned up the volume. The woman on screen said, "People can take things from you, but they can't take who you are." Lorato froze. It was Tandy's voice. She knew it instantly. She clicked on the channel name, The Real Me, and her eyes widened. 500,000 subscribers, millions of views, comments pouring in from people saying how this creator had changed their lives. Her hands started shaking. "No way," she whispered, scrolling through the videos. The topics, the tone, everything screamed Tandy. She jumped up from the couch and yelled, "Mom! Dad! Look at this!" Her parents came rushing in, confused. "What is it?" her father asked. Lorato turned the laptop toward them. "It's her. It's Tandy. She's back." Her mother leaned closer, her face going pale. "That can't be," she murmured. But the moment she heard Tandy's voice, her expression changed completely. It was her, no doubt. Her father frowned, trying to understand. "But how?" "We deleted everything." Just then, the sound of footsteps filled the room. Tandy walked in, calm and collected, wearing a simple white shirt and her signature silver necklace. She looked nothing like the broken girl they remembered. Her presence filled the room, quiet but strong. "Talking about me?" she said softly. Lorato's mouth opened, but no words came out. Her mother looked at her, then at Tandy, lost for words. Tandy walked over, glanced at the laptop screen and smiled. "Didn't you say YouTube wasn't real life?" she asked, her tone gentle but sharp enough to sting. No one spoke. Her parents just stared, guilt written all over their faces. Lorato's eyes welled up, a mix of shock and shame. The sister who once mocked her now stood trembling, realizing that no amount of jealousy or control could erase Tandy's light. Tandy didn't yell or gloat. She didn't need to. Her calmness said everything. She had rebuilt herself from the ashes they created, stronger, wiser, untouchable. For the first time, her parents saw what they had truly done. They hadn't just deleted a YouTube channel. They had tried to destroy a dream, and failed. Tandy looked at them one last time and said quietly, "I told you. You can't delete me." Then she turned and walked away, leaving behind a silence that felt heavier than any argument. That evening, the air in the house felt heavy. No one had said a word since the discovery. Tandy could feel their eyes on her as she moved around, her mother's nervous glances, her father's silence, Lorato's tear-filled stare. Finally, Tandy took a deep breath and said, "Let's talk." They all sat in the living room, the same room where they once laughed, ate dinner, and argued about her YouTube obsession. Now it felt cold and unfamiliar. Tandy sat upright, her voice calm but firm. "You didn't delete my dream," she began, looking directly at them. "You just taught me who I need to protect it from." Her words hung in the air. Her mother's eyes dropped to the floor. Her father cleared his throat. "Tandy, we were only trying to help," he said softly. "We thought it was love. We were worried about you." Tandy shook her head slowly. "Love doesn't destroy what someone has built. Love protects. What you did wasn't love, it was control." Her mother's voice broke. "We didn't understand. We thought it was getting in the way of family. We made a mistake." Lorato suddenly spoke through her tears. "I'm sorry, Tandy. I didn't mean for it to go that far. I was jealous, okay? I felt invisible next to you, but I never wanted to hurt you like that." Tandy looked at her sister, her expression unreadable. "You didn't just hurt me, Lorato. You erased me. Everything I worked for, everything that made me proud of myself, gone, because you couldn't stand to see me happy." Lorato started sobbing, but Tandy stayed composed. She'd cried enough already. Her voice was quiet but sharp. "Do you know how it feels to wake up and realize your entire world is gone? Not because of strangers, but because of your own family." Her father tried to reach for her hand, but she pulled it back. "You took something from me I built with my heart," she said, her voice trembling slightly now. "But you didn't break me. You just reminded me that I have to protect my peace, even from the people I love. Silence filled the room. Her parents looked at her, guilt written all over their faces. Lorato sat with her hands covering her face, crying quietly. Tandy stood up, her tone final. I'm done trying to make you understand my dream. I don't need your approval anymore. I'm taking back my life. She turned and walked toward the door. No one stopped her this time. The only sound left in the room was the soft hum of the ceiling fan and Lorato's quiet sobs. As Tandy stepped outside into the cool Lagos evening, she felt lighter. For the first time in a long time, she wasn't angry, she was free. The chapter of begging for understanding was over. Now it was time to live on her own terms. The day Tandy decided to reveal her identity, she wasn't nervous, just ready. After months of hiding behind the real me, she finally felt whole again. Sitting in front of her camera, dressed simply in a white shirt and gold earrings, she took a deep breath and hit go live. Her subscribers poured into the chat instantly. Hearts, comments, emojis, the screen lit up. She smiled and said, "Hi everyone. I have something to tell you. My name is Tandy, and I'm the person behind this channel." For a moment, the chat froze. Then it exploded. Messages flew in nonstop. "Wait, the Tandy? We missed you. You're back. They can't delete your light." Thousands of people watching from all over the world began sending messages of love, support, and pride. Some said her old videos had inspired them to start creating. Others said her new ones had saved them from giving up on themselves. Tandy felt tears forming, but they were happy ones this time. "I disappeared for a while," she said softly. "But now I know you can lose everything and still find yourself again." Her voice shook a little as she continued. "This channel started as my secret, but now it's my truth. Thank you for seeing me for who I really am." When she ended the live stream, her phone wouldn't stop buzzing. News sites picked up her story. Deleted but not defeated, Nigerian creator rebuilds from scratch. Brands started reaching out with offers, not just for ads, but for collaborations that celebrated real storytelling. Interviews came in from magazines, podcasts, even TV. Tandy's inbox overflowed, but she smiled through it all. This time, she knew how to handle success, calmly, quietly, with purpose. Within a few weeks, she moved into her own small apartment in the city, bright, simple, and full of plants and camera gear. She hung fairy lights above her desk, set up a new filming corner, and whispered to herself, "This is mine. All mine." Tandy didn't stop there. She started mentoring small creators who felt lost or unheard, offering tips and encouragement through free workshops and livestream Q&A. She wanted them to know what she had learned the hard way, that your dream doesn't need permission to exist. Her followers called her the comeback queen, but she didn't care about titles. What mattered was that she was finally living her truth, without fear or apology. Every time she pressed record, her smile came a little easier. It wasn't the smile of the girl who started with 100 subscribers. It was the smile of a woman who had been broken, rebuilt herself, and rose again, stronger, freer, brighter. And this time, she knew one thing for sure. No one could ever delete her again. Back at home, Lorato sat on her bed, staring at her phone screen. Tandy's new channel was everywhere, on YouTube, TikTok, even TV interviews. Every time Lorato scrolled, she saw Tandy's face smiling confidently, speaking about healing, success, and starting over. The same sister she once mocked was now being called an inspiration across Africa. Lorato's chest tightened. She should have been happy for her, but all she felt was guilt, heavy, burning guilt. Her life felt stuck. She had no job, no real friends, and no sense of direction. The excitement she once felt about being the golden child had faded long ago. The house that used to be full of noise and laughter now felt tense and cold. Her parents barely talked to her except to argue. Her mother blamed her father for agreeing to delete Tandy's channel. Her father blamed her for starting the fight in the first place. And every argument ended the same way, with silence. Sometimes, Lorato would walk past Tandy's old room. It was empty now, except for a few posters on the wall and a faint smell of the vanilla candle Tandy used to burn while filming. Lorato would stand there quietly, wishing she could take everything back. But she couldn't. The damage was done. Late one night, while scrolling through Tandy's newest video, a heartfelt piece about forgiveness, Lorato broke down. She watched her sister on screen, calm and glowing, saying, "Healing isn't about forgetting. It's about learning who deserves your peace." Those words hit her harder than she expected. Tears spilled down her cheeks. She realized Tandy wasn't talking to her, but somehow she was. Her fingers hovered over her phone for a long time before she finally typed, "I'm proud of you." "I'm sorry." It was short, but it was all she could say. She stared at the message for a few minutes before hitting send. Hours passed. She kept checking her phone, hoping to see the typing dots appear, but they never did. Tandy had seen the message. The little red notification glowed clearly, but there was no reply. Lorato sighed, setting the phone on her nightstand. A single tear rolled down her cheek as she whispered, "I deserve that." Tandy's silence said everything words couldn't. It wasn't cruel. It was final. It was her way of saying, "I forgive you, but I'm moving on." In that quiet moment, Lorato finally understood what her jealousy had cost her. Not just her sister's trust, but their bond, their laughter, their closeness. She scrolled one last time through the videos, watching Tandy's smile fill the screen, then turned off her phone and sat in the dark. The house was still. The only sound was the faint hum of the ceiling fan, and the echo of everything she wished she could undo. Tandy sat in her new studio, the soft glow of her ring light casting a warm halo around her. The walls were lined with cameras, plants, and a few old notebooks she had once filled with ideas. She pressed record and took a deep breath, looking straight into the lens. "People can take your things," she said slowly, her voice steady. "They can delete your work, erase your memories, and try to make you feel small. But they can't delete your purpose. That lives inside you, and no one can touch it." She paused for a moment, letting the words sink in, her eyes reflecting both strength and peace. Every video she had ever made, every late night spent editing, every laugh, every mistake had led her here. She wasn't just sharing tips or life stories anymore. She was sharing a truth that had been forged through fire. As she finished speaking, she clicked upload. The screen glowed with the progress bar moving slowly, each percentage a reminder of how far she had come. She leaned closer to the camera, her reflection staring back at her. "Calm, powerful, whole. Protect your dreams," she whispered softly, "even from the people who say they love you." When the video finished uploading, she stood up and stepped back, taking in the quiet of the studio. For the first time in years, there was no tension, no fear, no regret. She had rebuilt her life, her work, and herself, brick by brick, frame by frame. She smiled, a small but unstoppable smile. Then, looking into the camera one last time, she said, almost to herself, "They deleted my channel. But they didn't delete me." The camera clicked off. The studio was silent, but Tandy's voice, her courage, and her purpose echoed far beyond those walls, unstoppable, untouchable, and finally free.